She drained our shared account to bankroll her boyfriend's startup. I said nothing, filed a police report, and closed the account. Now they're both broke and under investigation. Hey viewers, before we move on to the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you want to see more stories like this. Thanks. So, I guess I should start from the beginning. My name's Ben. I'm a project manager, which is a fancy way of saying I get paid to be organized and not freak out when things go wrong. Or at least, I used to be good at that part. Tara and I had been together for 4 years. We lived together in this decent apartment, and for the last 2 years, we'd been saving like maniacs. The goal was a house. A down payment, anyway. It was our thing. We'd skip fancy vacations. I'd pack my lunch every day, all that boring stuff. We had a joint account at Chase just for this. The Future Fund, we called it. Cringe, I know. It was a Tuesday night. I was on the couch, laptop open, going over our budget spreadsheet. We had a viewing for a little starter house scheduled for that Saturday morning. I was feeling good. Proud, you know. I logged into the joint account to update the final number, to just see that big, satisfying number sitting there. Except it wasn't big. Or satisfying. The balance was about $43,000 lighter than it should have been. My first thought was fraud. My heart just dropped into my stomach. I clicked on the transaction history so fast I almost snapped the mouse. And then I saw them. A bunch of transfers. Not small ones. $5,000 here, $7,000 there, another 3. All outbound. All to something called Manatech Solutions. The descriptions said stuff like investment and business loan. I just stared. My brain couldn't make it make sense. Tara? Tara did this? My Tara, who I had to remind to Venmo me for her half of the electric bill. I opened a new tab and Googled Manatech. The website was all flashy graphics and buzzwords. Revolutionizing liquidity. Democratizing finance. It looked professional, but when you looked closer, there was no actual product. No meet the team page. Just a contact form. A cold dread started creeping up my neck. This wasn't fraud. This was something else. I remember this one night, right after we opened the account. We were so broke, we ordered a single pizza to celebrate, but we were so happy. She kissed me and said, "This is for us. For our real life." I held on to that memory hard right then, like it could protect me from what was on the screen. My hands were shaking. I picked up my phone and called her. She was out with friends, probably. It rang a few times. "Hey you." She sounded happy. A little buzzed. "Tara," I said. My voice was tighter than I meant it to be. "We need to talk. Now." The happiness vanished from her voice. "Why? What's wrong? Just come home. Now." I hung up. I didn't yell. I didn't know what to do, so I just sat there on the couch, staring at that list of transactions on my screen, each one feeling like a punch in the gut. Our future, just gone. And I had no idea why. I didn't move from the couch. I just sat there, listening to the clock tick in the kitchen. My heart was hammering against my ribs, but on the outside, I was weirdly calm. It was like my brain had short-circuited, and all that was left was the project manager part, just waiting for the next piece of data. I heard her key in the door about 20 minutes later. She came in, her cheeks a little flushed from drinks, but her smile was gone. She looked annoyed, not guilty. "Ben, what is so important that you had to?" She started, dropping her purse on the counter. I didn't say a word. I just turned the laptop screen toward her. I'd highlighted all the Manatech transactions in red. Her face changed. The annoyance flickered and then hardened into this defiant look. Like I'd caught her sneaking cookies before dinner, not draining our life savings. "Tara," I said, and my voice was flat. "Dead. What is Manatech? Where is our money?" She let out a sigh, like I was the one being difficult. "Okay, fine. I was going to tell you when it was all finalized, but since you're being so dramatic about it." She walked over and sat across from me, leaning forward like she was about to share a secret. "It's called Mana. It's this app, Ben. It's going to completely change peer-to-peer lending. It's a gold mine." I just stared. "An app? You gave $43,000 to an app?" "Not gave," she said, rolling her eyes. "Invested. Marcus says the ROI in the first year alone could be..." "Who is Marcus?" She got this little smile. He's the founder. He's a genius. He went to Stanford. He says I have a killer instinct for this stuff. He actually values my input." The pieces were crashing together in my head, and the picture was making me feel sick. "You met some guy online, and you sent him our house money. It's not like that, she snapped, her defensiveness finally cracking through. God, Ben, this is why I didn't tell you. You are so risk-averse. You'd rather let our money sit in a savings account and collect dust than actually do something big with it. I stood up because I couldn't sit still anymore. Risk-averse? Tara, that wasn't your risk to take. That was our money. For our house. And this is for our future too. She shot back, standing to meet me. A better one. One where we aren't slaves to a mortgage. Marcus and I are building something real, something that matters. He sees potential in me. He believes in me. You. She looked me up and down, and her expression was pure contempt. You just see a bill to pay. You're too scared to ever bet on something, or someone great. That last sentence hung in the air between us. It was like she'd reached inside my chest and ripped something out. I didn't say anything. What was there to say? She wasn't the woman I'd saved pizza money with. She was a stranger standing in my living room, telling me I was boring for wanting a life with her. I turned my back on her. I walked down the hall to our bedroom, went to the closet, and pulled out my old gym duffel bag. I started grabbing my stuff. Socks, underwear, a couple pairs of jeans, some shirts. I moved methodically, my mind completely blank. I heard her footsteps behind me in the doorway. "What are you doing?" she asked. The anger was gone, replaced by a sliver of confusion. I zipped up the bag, slung it over my shoulder, and walked past her without looking at her. I grabbed my laptop and charger from the couch. "Ben, where are you going?" "We're not done talking." I stopped at the front door, my hand on the knob. I finally looked back at her. She looked small and confused, but I felt nothing. "Yeah," I said, my voice quiet. "We are." I opened the door and walked out. I didn't slam it. I just closed it. The click of the latch sounded final. I got in my car and drove, with no idea where I was going, just away. I drove for maybe 20 minutes, just circling, my hands gripping the wheel way too tight. The whole thing felt like a bad dream. I couldn't go back. I couldn't afford a hotel for more than a night, not after that. Then I remembered my buddy, Mike. He'd gotten a divorce last year and had a tiny spare room he called his rage cage, full of old weights and boxes. I called him. I didn't give details, just said, "Hey man, I need a couch for a few nights." Things blew up with Tara. He didn't ask questions, just said, "Yeah, come over." That's a real friend. The next few days were a blur. I called in sick to work. I just sat on Mike's lumpy couch, staring at the wall. The anger was there, a hot ball in my gut, but mostly I just felt empty, hollowed out. $43,000. Years of saying no to things, of planning, just gone. And not even for something real. For some scammer named Marcus who went to Stanford. But after the shock wore off, the project manager in me woke up. This was a crisis. And you manage a crisis with a plan. Step 1, financial triage. I logged into my personal savings account and immediately transferred every last cent of it to a new account at a completely different bank. I wasn't taking any chances. The joint account was already empty, but I left it open. I had a feeling I'd need it for evidence. Step 2, legal intel. I found a lawyer who did a free 30-minute consult. I laid it all out, my voice shaking a little. He was a no-nonsense guy. He told me what I pretty much knew already. Because it was a joint account, she had every legal right to take every penny. I couldn't sue the bank. It wasn't fraud on their end. But, he said, if you believe the funds were obtained under false pretenses by a third party, that's a different story. You can file a police report for wire fraud. It's a long shot, but it's a paper trail. A police report. The words sounded so heavy, so final. This wasn't just a breakup anymore. This was something else. Step 3, the decision. I thought about confronting her again. I thought about screaming, begging, trying to make her see what she'd done. But what was the point? She'd looked me in the eye and called me scared. She'd chosen a ghost over me. Any more words were just a waste of breath. So I chose peace. Or at least, I chose to stop the bleeding. I went down to the police station. It was weirdly quiet. I filled out the report. I listed every transaction, every date, every dollar amount. I printed out the bank statements and highlighted the transfers in yellow. I gave them the Manatech website URL. I wrote down everything I knew about Marcus, which was basically nothing. The officer taking the report was sympathetic but realistic. These online things, tough to track. But we'll see what we can do. The last thing I did was the hardest. I logged into our joint account online one last time. The balance was a joke. $86.42. I clicked the Close Account button. It asked me for a reason. I typed irreconcilable differences and almost laughed. Then I clicked Confirm. It was done. The future fund was officially dead. I sat in my car outside the police station for a long time. I didn't feel better. I didn't feel victorious. I just felt tired and sad. Not for me, not really. For the guy who thought a shared pizza and a savings account meant something. For the future that wasn't going to happen anymore. The unfairness of it all was a physical weight on my chest. But under that, there was something else. A tiny, quiet sense of control. I hadn't gotten the money back. I probably never would. But I had done the next right thing. I had followed the steps. And for now, that was all I could do. For about 2 weeks, it was radio silent. I stayed at Mike's, went back to work, and tried to act like a human being. I'd blocked Tara on everything. Instagram, Facebook, even stupid LinkedIn. But I left her unblocked on my phone. The lawyer's advice. If she incriminates herself in a text, you'll want that. My buddy Mike was cool. Didn't pry. Just handed me a beer after work and let me sit in silence. I was starting to think maybe I could just disappear from her life. Let her and her genius Stanford boyfriend live their best life with my down payment. Then my friend Sarah, who knew both of us, texted me. Hey, you okay? Heard some weird stuff from Tara. My stomach clenched. Like what? She quit her job last week. Said she's all in on Manatech and doesn't have time for distractions. She's been posting weird, cryptic stuff. Everyone's worried. I didn't respond. What was there to say? Yeah, she paid for her new career with my life savings. A few days later, Sarah texted again. Okay, now she's panicking. She called me crying. Said Marcus has gone completely silent. Won't answer calls, texts, emails. The website is down. Ben, what did she get into? I just wrote back. I don't know. And it was mostly true. I didn't know the details. I just knew the cost. That's when my phone lit up. A voicemail from her number. I let it go to voicemail. An hour later, I listened to it, my heart thumping dully. Her voice was high, strained, on the edge of full-blown hysteria. Ben? Ben, oh my God, pick up. Something's wrong. Something's really wrong. He's missing. The website is gone. Everything is gone. I need you. Please. Can you just come over? We need to figure this out. Please call me back. She still said we. Like I was still on her team. I deleted the voicemail. The next day, a text came through. I know you saw my message. How can you be so cold? This is serious. Our money is gone. You need to help me fix this. The entitlement. The sheer, unbelievable audacity. Our money was gone because she took it. She needed to fix it. I felt a hot spike of anger, but I just put the phone down. I didn't respond. The big one came a week later. A call from a number I didn't recognize. I had a feeling, so I answered. I didn't say hello. I just waited. It was her, sobbing so hard she could barely breathe. Ben, they called me. The police. They want to talk to me. About the money. About Marcus. They said you filed a report. You have to tell them it was a mistake. You have to tell them it was a joint investment. You'll get in trouble too if you don't. She was spiraling, and she was trying to drag me down with her. I took a slow breath. My voice was calm. Flat. I filed the report, Tara. It wasn't a joint decision. You need to get a lawyer. There was a sharp intake of breath, then a wail. Ben, please. I hung up. I thought that would be it. I was wrong. 2 days later, my phone rang. It was her older brother, Dave. A real piece of work. I almost didn't answer. Ben, what the hell, man? He barked, no hello. You sent the cops after my sister? Over some money? Are you serious? Be a man. Drop the charges. She made a mistake, okay? She's sorry. I could feel the old me wanting to argue, to justify myself, to make him understand. But the old me was broke and lived on a friend's couch. So I didn't. I used my work voice. The one I use when a client is being unreasonable. The matter is with the authorities now, Dave. It's out of my hands. My recommendation is that she cooperates with the investigation and secures legal counsel. I paused. I have nothing more to say. I heard him sputter, "You little," as I ended the call. I powered my phone off for the rest of the night. The silence in Mike's spare room had never sounded better. A week later, another text from an unknown number. I almost deleted it without reading. We need to talk. In person. There are things to sign for the apartment lease. I can't do it over email. Meet me at the Grind tomorrow at 4. The Grind was a coffee shop we used to go to. It was public. Neutral ground. I knew it was a pretext. There was nothing to sign. Our lease was month to month, and I'd already told the landlord I was out. She just wanted a stage. Part of me wanted to say no, to just keep ghosting. But the project manager needed closure, to tie off the loose end. So I texted back one word. Okay. I got there early. I wanted to be the one sitting down when she walked in. I got a black coffee and took a seat in the back, by the window. My heart was weirdly calm. It was like I was waiting for a client meeting I knew was going to be a waste of time. She walked in at 4:05. She looked smaller. Her clothes were rumpled. Her hair was pulled back in a messy ponytail. The defiant, glowing woman from our living room was gone. This one looked drained. Pale. She slid into the chair across from me. She didn't get a coffee. Hi, she said, her voice quiet. I just nodded. Tara. She looked down at her hands, then back at me. Her eyes were red-rimmed. They're saying it's wire fraud. The lawyer I talked to, he said it's serious. He costs a lot. I lost my job. I have nothing left. I didn't say anything. I took a sip of my coffee. I could go to jail, Ben, she whispered, her voice cracking. You have to help me. You have to tell them you knew. That we decided it together. Please. You're the only one who can fix this. There it was. The final play. Not an apology. A demand. She wasn't sorry for what she did. She was sorry she got caught. I set my cup down. I can't do that, Tara. It would be perjury. A tear rolled down her cheek. But you loved me once. How can you just sit there? Don't you feel anything? Aren't you even a little bit sorry for me? That was the question she'd been wanting to ask since she walked in. It was still all about her. Her feelings. I looked at her, and for the first time, I felt no anger, no hurt, no pity. Just a vast, empty space where she used to be. I feel that I saved for 5 years for a future, I said, my voice even and quiet. And you gave it to a stranger you met online. I feel that the woman I loved would never have called me scared for wanting a stable life with her. I paused, letting it sink in. That woman is gone. You're not her. You're just a consequence of her actions. Her face crumpled. She opened her mouth to say something, to argue, to beg. I didn't let her. My only job now is to protect my peace. This conversation is over. I stood up. I pulled a $5 bill from my wallet and put it on the table for my coffee. I didn't look at her again. I just walked out of the coffee shop, the bell on the door jingling behind me. The afternoon sun was warm on my face. I got into my car, started the engine, and drove away. I didn't check the rearview mirror. I didn't wonder what she was doing. The weight I'd been carrying for weeks was just gone. It wasn't about winning or getting revenge. It was about being free. The money was lost. The future I'd planned was gone. But I was still here. And for the first time in a long time, the road ahead was completely, quietly my own. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. What do you think about this story? Share it in the comments.